basically I'm just using my both hand to squeeze a chunk of clay from the base. And for throwing up the hump, the important thing is when you are centering, you want to center your clay into like a donut. So meaning this part is a little bit narrower and the top is a little bit wider. So after you're done, when you're cutting it, your finger will be able to fit it underneath and easy to pull it up, okay, to lift it up. So that's the basic when you are throwing up the hump. That's the good thing for doing that you will be able to pick it up easier. And for making a nice round bottom portion, I usually like to open up my clay a little bit wider, so there's a little curve here. Right, little curve, and then after that, just color in. So this part you already have a curve. And then I just lift up. Basically, it's my left hand doing the job. Okay, lift it up. The right hand is to stabilize it. Okay, pinch and lift. Because the whole piece is not very big, so the pinch method is the major thing I do when I'm throwing up the hump. Pinch. And then I'm going to keep on squeezing the base here. So it's going to be a little bit narrower. And then my fingers inside, this finger inside, and the thumb is outside. And my fingers kind of forming like that. The thumb outside and finger inside, and kind of slightly pull and push up the clay. And make sure when you're doing that, your wall has to be slippery, so slightly put the thumb underneath and then pull and squeeze the clay up. And slowly release. Compress the rim. Making sure it is slippery. So this will be my final lifting. So I'm going to pull the wall, little curve and curve out, and then slightly curve in. And keep the top a little bit smaller than the base. Slightly pull out. The inside hand is pushing a bit more. and now I'm going to use my thumb outside to squeeze it. And slowly release. So that's the basic form. Curve out and then curve in and then slightly curve up. Right, and then start to shape. I think it's thin enough. So to have a nice curve, you can use your hand, but I like to use my small rib. Okay, this is my number 3. I'm selling it on my Etsy too. 3 inches rib. Okay, and just go in there, push it out, and then the rib is outside, and then just go with it. Okay. So fitting my rib right there, and both hands is compressing. Well, the inside hand is kind of slightly push it out, and the outside hand is guiding it. And I'm slightly bending my rib. Okay, push and then slightly bending the rib. See the rib is bending, and then you just go move with it. Okay. So clean up a little bit slip. And I'm gonna do one more time. Okay, and clean up the slip from my both ribs, inside rib and outside rib. Okay, I'm gonna do one more time. Right, so I'm done with the inside rib. Now, to take care of this part here. This part is still thick, so I'm going to slightly pull up, and then I'm going to use the other side of the curve of my metal rib. But first, I would like to thin it down, so connecting my fingers together. The outside finger, I'm just using my index finger, and the inside, I'm using my longer finger there. And then stabilize. You see that my thumb is connecting to the outside finger. And slightly pull, squeeze the clay and pull it to make it a bit thinner. And you see, I didn't even use water because the contact surface is small, so you don't have that much of friction, so you don't need to add a lot of water. So that's the technique too. You see that my splash pan is dry because I don't use a lot of water, and I use a small area to contact, so I will have a less of a friction, and I don't need to have so much water to lubricate it. So before I take care of this part here, there's a little bit of water inside, and use a sponge to just remove it. Right, so that's the curve, the bottom curve, and then using the metal rib, using the curved side metal rib to slightly push it. And while I'm pushing it, the inside hand is kind of pushing the wall against the rib, so you will have a nicer curve here. And use the chamois to compress the rim, so the lips is a rounder shape. Right, so that's the shaping. Now I'm ready to cut it off. And usually I use my fingernail to draw a little indentation, and then use the wire to the string to cut it off. If you are not quite familiar with this method, at the beginning maybe you might want to try to use a wooden knife to make an undercut. That way it might be easier for you to have a good guideline. So there's a little undercut there, and then this is the cotton string. You don't want to use the stiff wire, okay? The cotton string is softer and easier. So basically you are going to tie the string on your finger like that. So there's a little crossover, and then you're gonna hold right on the cross there so that the string doesn't come off. And then when you are ready to go, just stretch your string while the wheel is spinning. You don't need to spin it very fast. Okay? And then just insert your string into there, and then move my left hand here all the way to maybe like 6 o'clock. Okay? While the wheel is spinning, you pull your string here to about 6 o'clock, and then it's gonna cross over. So when you move your hand there while the wheel is spinning, you pull the string. Okay, you pull string. Use the right hand to pull the string, okay? That you will be able to cut it, okay? And don't rush to do it, okay? Just take your time and then go and then pull. And remember, when you pull, you don't want to pull up or you don't want to pull down. You don't pull the level. Otherwise, if you pull up, you might cut the clay from the mud, or if you pull it down, you might cut the clay from the bottom. So that's the technique of cutting up the hump. And then some people do show you that, put a piece of paper on top of it so that when you pick it up, you don't distort it. My method is easy. As long as the outside is dry, because I use the metal rib to scrape up all the slip, and outside is dry and the base is smaller, you should be able to pick it up without deforming, okay? And just slightly spin the wheel and form your finger like scissors, and just go in there. Slightly spin the wheel, and while the wheel spin, you just go there and fit right there and remove it. You see that when I'm picking up, the rim stays quite in a circular shape without deforming, because the technique is smaller base, no slip outside, and it's very easy to pick it up, right? So I'm just using water to stick my mark on the wheel head. To be able to do this way, you have to learn the tap centering, because without tap centering, your part might stick on the wheel head, and it's hard for you to move around by using your hand to adjust it. But by tap centering, you will be able to move the your part a little bit, okay, little by little. So to learn your tap centering. And now I'm going to use my number 3 trimming tool. This is the carbide trimming tool. The carbide tool is much harder material, and you don't need to resharpen it as often as my regular stainless steel trimming tool. And also it's easier to cut through the harder surface. That if your piece is on the drier side, it's easier to go through. Like this mug is a little bit on the drier side, and actually it just cut right through easily. So I'm doing the rough trimming using my number 3, and for the detail cut to get the corners, I'm using my number 2. So with the number 2, I will be able to get to the corner, this inside corner, nicely. And then by tapping the sun, from my experience, I know this is the right thickness, so I will stop right here. If you don't have experience, I have a very good tool for you to practice on it. Is the measuring the thickness of the bottom before you start it. My measuring tool, and that is a very good tool to have, and you can practice. And once you measure to get the right thickness, and you just tap and hear the sound, and you memorize. And later on, you don't need to depend on tool. Right, so this part has been taken care, but there's a little curve here, and I want to follow all the way through. So I will bring my either number 6. Okay, this is number 6. That the curve is fitting that curve there, or using my number 5. Either way should be fine. I'm going to use my number 6. Right, so that's the roughly trimming, and usually after I finish using my carbide tool to trim, the very final stage, I will probably bring in my stainless steel trimming tool, because the using that tool, you cut the surface a little bit smoother. The carbide, when you cut it, you can feel it, the surface is a little bit rough. Okay, so the by very final stage, I will just bring it in and then use my stainless steel trimming tool to do a very fine trimming, and that way that surface will be much smoother. Right, so that's the trimming of the foot ring, and the whole piece will be much lighter. And I want to do a little bit of a surface decoration carving, just using a very simple drill bit, the drill bit, the wooden drill bit. Okay, so I will have these two different sizes, the drill bit. I think it's a very beautiful surface, the carving surface. So I will do that drill. Right, very time consuming, and I'm leaving this part without putting the texture here, because this is where I'm going to attach the handle. So just leave it. Now I'm ready to attach the handle. First I will scratch the joint. And get to choose the section that is fitting the size of the mug. And then score, make it rough. And before I attach it, I usually like to widen it, make it a little bit wider by just using my fingernail to tap it. So you can see the handle is the joint portion is a bit wider. Okay, this part is a bit wider. So later on, after I attach it, I could use the clay to smooth it. And then I brush the slip over. Maybe a little bit here where I'm going to join the bottom. Put my finger inside behind the mug and then squeeze it. Remember applying pressure. And you want to hold in position for maybe like 30 seconds so that the body of the mug draw in some water. Because sometimes the handle might be a little bit wet. So to let it even it out by holding the handle in position for like 30 seconds. Okay, and then the handle, you see that that's the right stage. When you attach the handle, it's not sticky but still movable. You see that if you bend it, it's easy for you to bend. So that's the stage I'm looking for when I'm attaching the handle, which is actually 2 hours later. Today the temperature, the room temperature here, I would say it's around 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, for 2 hours. I'm just naturally bending the curve. Right, so the curve is good, looks good. And usually I would prefer 2 fingers to go through easily. Okay, for my marks, at least 2 fingers. And then just use the needle tool to chop it off. So for the final compression, usually I put my finger inside to support it here and then compress it. And if you find out this part is a bit too dry, you could add water to soften it so that when you are compressing, it's easier, okay, to make it soft. And then just use the finger to compress it. And I also usually add in a drip of water right by the joint before I compress it. Okay, before I compress it firmer. Right, so that should be fine. And you can come back and adjust the curve if you like, because the clay is still bendable. So you can adjust it so it looks better. And like I told you that I would put the handle right there, so I didn't use the drill bit to drill the decoration texture. Right, so that's the attachment. And then this part here, still rough. I would wait maybe 10-15 minutes later, let the body draw more water from the handle, and then I will come back and return it and use the needle tool to smooth it. But now it's still wet, so I would wait 10-15 minutes later and do that. Okay, so I will show you the final result after I smooth it. Okay, but now I'm just waiting. Right, so after waiting for 10-15, actually more than 20 minutes. I'm ready to smooth the joint. So you can use either a needle tool to do that, or you can use a plastic knife. Okay, this is from fast food store, the plastic knife, and I just use the sandpaper to remove the teeth and make it smooth. So you can use that to just spray the clay from the joint. Right, after I smooth it, I just brush a little bit of water over the joint. And that's it for attaching the handle. And if you wait till the same dryness of the body and the handle, and when you attach it, I guarantee 99.9% the handle won't fall apart. Okay, mostly when people are attaching the handle, either the body is too dry or the handle is too wet. So when you attach together, the dryer is not going to shrink a whole lot. Then the handle when it's wet, it shrink more. So even you have a very good joint, but the dryness isn't the same, and the softer clay is going to pour more to shrink more, so it will fall apart. So that's the reason why you want to attach at the same stage. All right, so this is the demonstration on making a nice round mark, and also to use the drill bit to do the circular, a lot of the circular dots around, and to do the decoration. Okay, so hope this helped. Right, see you next time.